Windows XP is an operating system, not a video game. However, that didn't stop a group of French homebrew enthusiasts from porting it to the Nintendo DS. But is this version of Windows any good? Well, let's find out on today's video. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Stuff We Play, your source for everything weird and retro. And what we're looking at today is definitely weird. Wintendos XP, or Windows XP for the Nintendo DS. Originally created for a coding contest, this is a mostly functional version of Windows that works on a DS. While it lacks many of the normal features you'd find on Windows, it does work. So come on, let's boot it up and get started. The Windows XP boot up screen. This brings back so many memories. Unfortunately, it seems to give us a bit of an error whenever we boot it up. And this seems to happen on various random places as well, such as whenever you try to save something in Notepad. Apparently, if you put this on actual DS cartridge, you won't have this problem, because this version of Windows relies heavily on the internals of a real Nintendo DS. And apparently that's what causes these errors. And it uses internals for other things as well, such as automatically setting its clock to that of your clock on your DS. Now, there's only a few programs you can use here. Of course, you can't go on the internet, but you can't do a lot of other things either. What you can do, however, is use a fully functional calculator, a fully functional version of Notepad, albeit you can't save or change the font size or whatever, but you can type. Now, to use the mouse, you just move your stylus in the bottom screen of the DS and it acts like a mouse. Also, from the bottom screen, if you tap the left click button or left click, however, the right click button does not seem to work in this build. Furthermore, there's a credits button that lets you see the credits of the people who made this game, and option settings for changing things such as the screen brightness and the mouse sensitivity. Furthermore, it has a fully functional keyboard. It only has one font, but it can do uppercase, lowercase, numbers, and punctuation signs. Also included in this build of Windows is the classic Minesweeper, which works perfectly. It works exactly as it does in a regular version of Windows XP. Unfortunately, this doesn't include my favorite built-in Windows XP thing, which is Space Pinball, 3D Space Pinball. I forget what it's called, but this game. While I never particularly cared for Minesweeper, it's cool to see it here. Now, as far as features go, that's pretty much everything there is here. You can restart and go back to the startup screen, which is cool, and you can shut down, which just shuts it down and pretty much just bricks your system until you turn it off. Now, I should mention that the version I'm playing here is version 2.05. There is a version 3 of Wintendos floating around the internet, which is supposed to have been rebuilt from the ground up and is a bit more stable, is a bit less glitchy, and has some more features. However, I couldn't find a working version, or at least one that works on the emulator I've been using. Because yes, I've been using an emulator for this review, as I do not own a DS capture card. Wintendos XP runs very smoothly, however it does have a few glitches here and there. Mainly the aforementioned saved errors, along with a few little graphical quirks that appear on occasion. As little as there is to do in Wintendos, for a homebrew project for the Nintendo DS that was originally made for a contest back in 2008, it's honestly really cool. It's not something I can really rate or recommend per se, because it's not a game, it's a homebrew project, and a proof of concept. And as that, it absolutely succeeds. I mean, as a game, no, there's not much enjoyment here, but as a novelty, yes, absolutely hunt this down and check it out. It's really cool. I'll be honest, I find this more interesting than Windows 98 for the NES that I played a while back. And honestly, maybe it's partially because this is being billed as just a homebrew proof of concept and not a bootleg being passed off as the original product. Who knows, maybe in the future we'll see ports of other OSs to other consoles, such as maybe Mac OS to, I don't know, the Atari 5200. Okay, that would actually be kind of cool. But hey, why don't you comment down below what OSs you'd like to see ported to old consoles. So with that, thank you very much for watching. Remember to subscribe for more great content, and I will see you next time.